ask Councilmember Fan to lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance after.
Okay, please prepare yourself according to your faith. Heavenly Father, we humbly ask that you bless all who are assembled here this evening and the work we seek to do. Help us to work in harmony as we seek to make the best decisions for our beloved Garden Grove community. Purify our intentions, strengthen our purpose, and Lord, grant that in serving our community we may serve you. Amen.
Amen. Please place your hand over your heart, face the flag, and recite the pledge with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And we have a few presentations tonight. Let's get right into that. Oh, let's do a roll call. Pardon me?
Did you want to start with housing?
No, he's going to have a certain presentations.
Oh, okay.
Here we go.
Sorry.
No, we're going to do presentations first.
Got it. And I'll do roll call.
Yeah.
Okay, Councilmember Beard?
Here.
Councilmember Bowie?
Here.
Councilmember Fawn?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Jones?
Here.
Mayor Nguyen?
Yes. And we have a couple commissioners for the housing here too.
Commissioner Beckles?
Present.
And Commissioner O'Connor?
Here.
Great, thank you. Let's move into our presentations.
Okay, our first presentation is a Police Department Medal of Merit for Detective Michael Farley.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I have the pleasure tonight to present two Medal of Merits for two of our police department employees for the work that they've done over this past year. And we'll start with Detective Michael Farley. In 1985, a homicide occurred in the Buena Clinton neighborhood as a result of a drug deal gone bad. Two men went to the area to purchase drugs, and one of them was fatally stabbed during the transaction. Initially, 2 arrests were made in connection with the murder, but charges were never filed because the witnesses to the crime were deemed unreliable. In 2014, Garden Grove Police Department received a tip regarding the 1985 murder, and Detective Mike Farley was in charge of reopening the case. Mike re-examined the evidence and made efforts to recontact witnesses, many of whom were now deceased. Mike did notice that some of the DNA evidence was never processed and needed to be sent to the crime lab. Eventually, the results of the DNA evidence were returned, and to Mike's surprise, the DNA hit came back to one of the original suspects in 1985. The suspect was eventually located by the department's career criminal apprehension team, and the real work of resurrecting a 30-year-old homicide case began. Detective Farley worked closely with the Orange County District Attorneys and the Santa Ana Police Department to place a wiretap on the suspect's phone. The process was very time-consuming and took a tremendous amount of teamwork and man-hours to reconstruct this case. Mike coordinated a 24-hour surveillances using the department's Career Criminal Apprehension Unit, Special Investigations Unit, Gang Unit, and Youth Services units. He was responsible for the overall operations and did a great job organizing officers and maintaining professional relationships within the District Attorney's office. The efforts Detective Farley exhibited were exceptional. However, trying to present a 30-year homicide case for prosecution to the District Attorney's office was very difficult. Fortunately, Mike's coordination of department resources paid off for the victim's family. The suspect is now in custody for the murder and is awaiting trial for a homicide that occurred 30 years ago. Although Mike will tell you that solving this case was a joint effort by all involved, the reality is that his leadership, organization, and determination to see this case through was the catalyst for its success. This is why Detective Mike Farley is deserving of the Garden Grove Police Department's Medal of Merit. Well, Michael, on behalf of the City Council, myself, the City Manager, and everybody here at the City of Garden Grove and the Garden Grove Police Department, it's my honor to present you with a citation and also the Medal of Merit. I got the medal still. I got it. And so everybody can see it. It's our Medal of Merit. Mike will wear this on his uniform. Obviously, this he's able to frame. And then, of course, He's also got a little badge for his significant other. So congratulations, my friend. Thank you. Come on up here, Ryan. This next presentation, Mr. Mayor and members of council, is for Community Service Officer Ryan Berleth. On September 1st, 2015, the police department went live on an all-new, all-inclusive electronic system for handling all aspects of the operations within the police department. In one day, all operations with regard to report writing, dispatch, property and evidence handling, mobile computer terminal functionality, and even taking and uploading evidentiary photographs changed from the way we did things the previous day and years prior to that. Ryan Berleth is a field report writer and a person qualified to answer phones in dispatch. He had to learn both roles, new responsibilities within the new Spillman system. Every employee was sent through the appropriate training for their role within the department. Due to his dual roles, Ryan had to attend more training sessions than any other employee in the department. It was clear during these training sessions that Ryan was quick to digest and apply the information. Ryan gave a refresher course to all of the patrol briefings that were conducted the first week to ensure everyone had a base understanding of the system. When called upon to remain available and assist officers in completing their entries and reports in Spillman, Ryan quickly agreed to perform well in that role. He even stepped up and wrote the manuals that trained the staff on all reference materials. Ryan has remained our most advanced user within the department. He has since continued to participate in writing additional manuals for the system and has just completed updating all of those for incorporation into the overall reference guide for new and existing employees. Ryan took that role of trainer and is well respected for the way he handles it. He is seen as a resource throughout the department on this system, and he certainly went well and beyond his normal job duties, which is why he is deserving of the Medal of Merit. And I got to tell you, from my perspective, for years we've worked under this system, and when we transferred over to the Spillman system, it was like going from night to day. And there's a lot of frustrations, especially within a police department, because of the change. And Ryan, being a report writer, stepped up to the plate. He took it on, and he is the premier trainer in our department with regard to this system. So I really appreciate your efforts. You certainly made that transition very smooth, and you too are very worthy of the Medal of Merit for the police department. Thank you very much. So again, on behalf of the mayor and the council, myself, the city manager, here's your citation. And I'll try not to drop this one. And of course, your Medal of Merit for the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. And we have our community spotlight.
Yes, we have our community spotlight recognition of city employees celebrating their years of service with the city of Garden Grove.
Okay, thank you, Madam City Clerk, Mr. Mayor. This evening, the City of Garden Grove City Council pays tribute to distinguished group of individuals celebrating milestones with the City of Garden Grove, having dutifully served the community for 25 years, 30 years, 35 years, and 40 years. Some of the recognized employees unable to attend here tonight are Anthony Acosta, Antonio Aquino, Robert Fowler, Michael Johnson, George Kaiser, John Marcel, Millie Merola, Jeffrey Mooney, Ian Farm, Robert Berg, Frana Cassidy, Patrick Collins, Dara Danley, Charles Green, Jeffrey Spager, Benjamin Stoffer, David Young, Teresa Casey, and Chris Veres. These employees are unable to attend tonight, but we nonetheless recognize them. At this time, I would like to call forward the employees present here tonight and give brief introductions. Please stay up front after you're being called so we can take a group photograph afterwards. We'll start with the 25-year employees. Carlos Batista. Carlos was hired by the Garden Grove Police Department as a police recruit in 1990. After completing the police academy, he became full-time with the department. In 1995, Carlos was assigned to a neighborhood improvement team. And in 2001, he worked with his K9 partner, Cisco, and they've worked together for several years. Currently, he patrols the West Division of Garden Grove. Next, I have Thomas DeRay. In 1990, Tom started his career with the Garden Grove Police Department as a cadet. In 1992, he was hired as a police recruit, and after completing the police academy, he was hired full-time as a police officer. Tom worked his way up to Master Officer 1 in 1997, Police Sergeant in 2001, and Police Lieutenant in 2015. He is currently working as a watch commander in charge of the Resort Services District. Next, I have Alan Harry. Alan joined the city as a police officer, and after his training, he was assigned to patrol for 6 years. In 1996, he was assigned to the Howard Daly's Homicide Task Force. He is currently in patrol. Next, I have Patrick Julian. Patrick started his career as a reserve police officer. He worked in the Youth Services Unit, the Day Program, and Patrol. Patrick is currently a field training officer and an honor guard. He assists the Professional Standards Division with backgrounds for new hires. Next, I have Adrian Sarmiento. In his 25 years with the city, Adrian worked in the custodial services section, trees section, water services division. Adrian worked his way to his current position of senior water services worker over the years. Next, I have Dean Vegas. Dean was hired as a reserve police officer in 1991. He worked by patrol and is on the Garden Grove Police Department Honor Guard. Dean currently works jail transport and patrol. Next, we have our 30-year employees. Maddie Carroll. Maddie was hired as a recreation specialist in 1985. She transferred to the Human Resources Department in 1990. And in 2011, she returned to the Community Services Department as an assistant supervisor. Marty currently oversees the Community Meeting Center and the Courtyard Center. Next, we have Carl Hill. Carl began his career with the city as an associate planner and rose to the rank of our planning services manager. He most recently added to his credentials, which is the interim community development director. Next, I have Jeffrey Wilkins. Jeff was hired as a firefighter in 1985. He served as a firefighter and a paramedic until his promotion to fire captain in 2011. Jeff supervises Grove Engine Number 3 and manages day-to-day duties and emergency calls. He also currently serves as arson investigator and terrorist liaison officer. And next, we have our 40-year employees. And number one on the list, Kathy Baylor, our city clerk. Kathy was hired as a full-time clerical assistant in 1980. In 1989, she became department secretary for the Community Services Department. Kathy served in that capacity for 11 years before transferring to the city clerk's office, serving as a records clerk and deputy city clerk before being promoted to city clerk position in 2008. The city commends Kathy Baylor for 40 years of commitment and dedication to the community. At this time, the Mayor and City Council would like to present each of these distinguished individuals with a memento and certificate of recognition and appreciation
come on up here.
of their many wonderful years of dedicated service to the city of Garden Grove. The city is proud of each of their milestone accomplishments and look forward to many, many more years of success in their city career. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Good job, good job. Head down there.
Yeah, we're gonna do the picture up here. Jeff.
I know. Oh, wow. Thank you.
Uh-huh. I'll have to stick him behind Carl here, buddy. Wherever you want to be. Oh, okay. Should we go down there?
Yep, squeeze it.
It's okay.
Okay, there you go. All right, couple shots. 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Beautiful. Congratulations.
Everybody out. Everybody out.
Now back to housing.
Family.
We're gonna do oral communications. Yeah, Kathy.
That's the only bad thing, they gave your age away.
Congratulations.
Oh yeah. Good to see you.
You're a veteran.
And we're going to go into housing authority. Did we have any public comments for housing?
No, he didn't.
Okay, we don't. Okay. Do we have any out there for housing? Okay. All right. Did you have something to say, Mr. Sandoval? Okay. Here we are.
Is this a companion item in council?
Yes, so
We
we
may
can.
have cards in the council pile
Oh, let
for
me
this
check.
item.
The item on council agenda. 8B and 8C. Okay. I have a card from Vin Vu that says public comments 8B, 9A? Is it just 9A? Is it just 9A? Okay, just wanted to be clear. All right. So, thank you. We don't have any comments for these items. We have no consent items on the housing. Can we do 3A simultaneously with council items 8B and C? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to entertain the motion for item 3A on housing and 8B and 8C on city council.
I'll move it. Second.
Okay. Discussion?
We have a staff report.
Yes, please.
Mayor, members of the City Council, and members of the Housing Authority, before you are a couple of actions related to the same project. The project is transfer of Housing Authority properties to the city, and then the city will be transferring properties to the lab holding in order to implement a development project involving the reuse of the properties. Those properties that have structures will be reused for light commercial uses. The reason the Housing Authority owns, we are talking about 17 properties in total. 15 of those are currently owned by the Housing Authority. The reason the Housing Authority owns the properties is because over many years, the redevelopment agency has been acquiring properties as they come up on the market, so as to not to displace individuals. And as the properties come up on the market, the redevelopment agency would purchase these properties, and we were basically trying to put properties together for a larger redevelopment project in the Civic Center area. Over the years, because it was taking time to get the properties together, in order for the properties not to be vacant and unused, the city would transfer the properties to the Housing Authority for temporary rental to low-income families, while the redevelopment agency, over time, would acquire the additional properties necessary for the larger redevelopment project. Unfortunately, the redevelopment agency has been dissolved by the state of California, so it will not be possible to continue with the land acquisition process, and we now have these properties that were never intended to be long-term rentals by the Housing Authority. And because the Housing Authority can only rent for low income, not sufficient revenues are received in order to maintain the properties for the long term. So, in fact, of the 12 properties that have homes on them, there is 13 homes. 2 of them are vacant. 1 of them is vacant because of the state of repair, where they're not habitable at this time. And we currently don't have the funding to bring it up to code in order to rent them. So over time, the properties will deteriorate, and we will not have sufficient funding in order to continue to maintain them. So during the Reimagine Garden Grove times, when the city was looking at reimagining the downtown area, the city invited the lab holding, Mr. Sategui, to look at the downtown area to see if there were any projects that he can assist with. And he identified the area of the Civic Center as a possible project. We had a lot of discussions with Mr. Sategui, and before you again is a development and disposition agreement for the 12 properties. The 5 properties that don't have any structures on them would be leased to Mr. Sategui, because 3 of the properties that don't have any structures, that are vacant, are owned by the Housing Authority, and because those are not going to be sold outright, those properties are going to be subject to a lease agreement between the Housing Authority and the city, and then the city will sublease them to the lab holdings so that they can be made part of their overall project. As part of our presentation, we invited representatives from the lab to come before you and present and introduce a project to you. So at this time, I will go ahead and ask Mr. Sategui and his team to come up to the podium, make his presentation, and after that, I'll be, I'll make some closing remarks in terms of the actions that we will be asking the Housing Authority and the City Council to take in order to implement this project.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. Thank you so much for the invitation and the opportunity to work in your beautiful city. We've been working with staff on this project for some time. When we were invited to look at the immediate area, we actually got really excited about the opportunity of preserving these homes and use them into something that's a little bit more localization and personalization as opposed to coming up with a traditional retail or commercial project. We're very excited about the opportunity of revamping these houses and saving them. So much of this project, quite honestly, is preservation. We've been in business for about 24 years here in Orange County. We're family operated. My wife Linda and I started it. We have about 110 people on staff. We're only interested in very unique special projects. As you know, Orange County has about 34 cities, and over the last few years, we're very excited to see the opportunity that each city is looking to sort of develop their own brand and celebrate their own local culture and community. And this is something that we have been doing for many, many years. Our company is called The Lab, stands for Little American Businesses. And when Linda and I started it, really that was our purpose. And I think today, it's probably even more apropos. We do not do national tenant work, so this is, I assure you, this is not about bringing a national chain of any kind. All of our tenanting are locals. I think our packing house project here in Anaheim, that building sat empty for about 30 years. And we just put it on the National Historic. 31 local vendors. We think there's a lot of local talent here in Garden Grove. We love to create a platform and an opportunity for them to stay here in town and do business in town. We think that's going to really create some uniqueness here. So very exciting for us. I wanted to also talk about some of the additional components that are very important to this project. And, I think our history probably, describes what we do best. As an example, when we completed the packing district in Anaheim, we developed a park. It's called Farmers Park. If you haven't been, love for you to visit it. We developed a community garden in Farmers Park, and we have classes, and we teach people, and schools come on the weekends and during the week and teach people how to garden. The vegetables are used by the restaurants within the packing house, and people can take them home. So we're really excited about the opportunity of taking these houses and creating these wonderful backyards and community gardens. My understanding is there's one there, which we obviously would love to preserve and work with the people that are doing this. And I think most of you know that the community that gets involved in these things, they usually do it for the love of the community. So we definitely are excited in working with them and preserving these. So in some ways, quite honestly, I think we're just this gatekeepers for this area. You might want to know that we have never sold any projects in the history of our company, so we don't buy things and fix them and flip them. We hold on to everything. We manage it ourselves. We do our own leasing. And we do all of our own events, all in-house. And we're very excited about doing that here in Garden Grove. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions or any questions?
Mr. James? No? No? Thank you.
So, Mayor, members of the City Council, members of the Housing Authority, before you are, there's going to be 2 actions by the Housing Authority and 4 actions by the City Council. For the Housing Authority, you have 1 resolution that would transfer or sell 12 properties that have the structures on them, the single-family homes, to the city. And you also have a separate resolution that approves the lease, long-term lease of the 3 vacant properties. 2 of them are the community gardens, and 1 is another vacant property that would be leased to the city for a long term of 20 years. And so the first actions that we need you to take are adopt the 2 resolutions by the Housing Authority transferring 15 properties to the city. 12 are sold, 3 are going to be ground leased. Then the City Council has 4 actions. 1 resolution that would approve the purchase of the properties, of the 12 properties from the Housing Authority by the city. 1 resolution that will approve the long-term lease of the 3 vacant Housing Authority properties to the city. After those actions, then there is a resolution, that would be the 3rd action, that would then sell the properties, the 12 properties, to the lab holding. And then there will be a separate resolution, and that resolution that sells the 12 properties to the lab holding, that it's through a disposition and development agreement that stipulates that the 12 properties will be reused and rehabilitated for light commercial uses as identified in the disposition and development agreement. It includes a schedule of performance that identifies when they will be submitting plans to the city for processing, when they will be pulling building permits, and when they would start construction, and when they would finalize the project approvals. And the last action would be a resolution approving a long-term lease of 2 city vacant properties to the lab for a 15-year term, and also approving a sublease of the 3 lease properties from the Housing Authority for the long term of 15 years, so that all the project is within 1 long term. So those are the actions that are presented to you. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Great.
Can we take that all in one shot, or do we need to break those down into a bunch of separate motions?
I think that for purposes of the record, because
One at a time.
I would want the council to do 1 resolution at a time.
Okay.
If we can start with the Housing Authority resolutions, that would be great.
Okay, then I'll entertain a motion for 3A from housing.
Move it. I'll move it.
Any further discussion?
Yeah.
Mr. Bowie?
I'm a little bit perplexed here. Now, as we move to approve the transfer of this property to Mr. Sadahi, okay, are we saying that this project will be moving forward and that this will be developed into a a kind of some kind of mixed-use shopping experience?
Yes, the disposition and development agreement commits the lab holding, and there's provisions in the agreement for assigning to another LLC to actually develop the properties, and it would commit them to actually rehabilitate and reuse the properties. So they would not be tearing down any structures, they would just be rehabilitating and repurposing them. So rather than leasing them for residential uses, their plan is to reuse them for light commercial uses consistent with the current zoning on those properties.
Is the permit for that use have already been approved by the prior council?
No. They're still going to be required to prepare plans and submit them through the city. There will be site plans, so there will be plans that we will be going through Planning Commission for review and approval. They won't necessarily come to City Council because jurisdiction for site plan approvals will be at the Planning Commission level. But there will be plans processed through our regular planning process and building permit process.
Okay. This is a complex project. What if, and it is intermixed with the residential and many other, some of that is historical aspect of it. What if the permit for this type of use is not approved? Are we putting a horse before the cart?
Well, normally site plans are not a use issue. I mean, the stipulation in the agreement is that they will present uses that are already authorized by the municipal code. So it's not an issue about approving a use or not. It's an issue about, the site plan normally deals with development standards, the way that they plan to make the properties look, landscaping, parking, those sorts of issues.
My concerns is this. Even though about years ago, I have been talk about and brief about this, but this come out with such a surprise because I thought that we would have public hearings, we would be involved the community, the resident to get their input, and before we move forward. I have not seen this thing unveiled. So why are we, rushing too fast into this?
And at this time, we have been able to negotiate the transfer of these properties at this time, and the stipulation is that they still need to process and comply with the codes with respect to the reuse. So all we have is the high-level concept approvals, so to speak, or not approvals, but the discussion of the reuse of the properties in concept. The stipulation is that they still need to go through the city process for getting approval for their development.
Has this suggestion gone through planning already, Omar?
There has been some discussion with the Planning Commission when the rezoning, if you recall, these properties used to be single-family residential zone, and the city rezoned it to multi with mixed use. At that time, there was discussion about the reuse of these properties in the Civic Center area. And those did go through public hearing, both the Planning Commission and City Council.
That's right, I remember.
Yep.
I do remember that, but that zoning is one thing. But before we transfer the property and before we consider the application, there seem to be some kind of complexity here, because we do not want the developer to be in a situation where when they want to implement certain kind of uses that the resident and the Planning Commission or even the City Council feel that it's not appropriate. So I just want to make sure that there is no pressure that we transfer this property now, meaning that we can do whatever he wants to do. And so there is a possibility, because we haven't discussed this with the neighborhood yet, there is a possibility that what he wants to do here may or may not be approved. And I want everyone to be aware of it, and I want the city to assure me that we are not under pressure, because we sold the property to the developer, that we are under pressure to, give them the approval to implement what he wants to implement.
Yeah, in terms of the uses, those were discussed and approved when the city rezoned the properties. That's when we had a public testimony as to the appropriateness of the different uses that are approved under the zoning code. There is nothing in these agreements that commit the city to change the uses that are already authorized. In fact, the language says that they will submit plans consistent with the current uses approved under the current zoning regulations.
I understand that, right? But just like that I can build a 2 or 3 story home doesn't mean that I can go and automatically get the permit when I submit that. I just want to make sure that the developer and the city understand that.
Well, that process is still there, and that's assumed.
Process is.
I do want to thank Mr. Dale Softner for emailing us on this issue, and he does have a couple legitimate questions I would like answers to as well. For the low-cost housing, since these properties are currently in the ownership of the housing authority, How are we going to resolve that issue with the folks that are currently living there now?
Yeah, so currently the houses that are occupied are subject to month-to-month rental agreements. When they initially came as the initial tenants, when they established the tenancy, it was explained to them that these were temporary tenancies, and that, we explained the fact that we were working towards a larger redevelopment project, and that at the time that we had a project, we would need them to move.
So there was full disclosure to them?
Yes, there's full disclosure, and it's also written in the list in the rental
in the
agreement
contract
as well.
Okay. So that means that we're not going to provide any kind of assistance to these renters?
The answer is that we're not legally required to provide relocation assistance.
Okay. And then the community garden that's there, it looks like that's going to be leased, right?
Yeah, the community garden properties are subject to the lease. The lab has agreed to allow the current program year to expire, and so we're not evicting anyone. We're just not going to re-rent them when the current permits expire.
Okay. And then this vision sounds like there will be more community gardens throughout this whole concept, the cottage industry idea. There's going to be even more gardens. Okay. So thank you, Mr. Dale Softner, for those questions. I think they're very important in our deliberation. So at this point, if there's no further deliberation, there's, was there a motion for 3A?
We have a motion
and there
and a
was a second?
Before we vote,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor and my council, I'm going to support and vote yes for this, but it appeared to me that in the past, with the previous council, we have seen many projects which are very, very good projects. But I'm a little bit concerned about some of these projects and the transfer of city property, that we did not go through a due process where we, advertise the opportunity to other developers. I would like that in the future we will allow other developers to propose their idea, rather than just having one developer coming to us and propose it and then we rush through it. Even though it is a good project, I would like to have a due process that will be more transparent and more fair, and I will discuss about that during the matter from the council.
Mr. Mayor, and to Councilman Bowie's point, Councilman Bowie and I have had several good conversations about this point. One of the things that I'm going to be doing, our new Economic Development Director, Lisa, Kim, and I, and her staff, one of the things I think you've indicated to us that you'd like to do in the coming year is have us prepare an economic development incentive and development sort of strategy handbook, playbook that you can be on the same page and we know exactly what your policy is. So we'll be kind of working through some of the things that Councilman Bowie is suggesting and trying to make sure that we're kind of aligned with you. We want to maintain some flexibility on development, but we also want a lot of transparency. And just as we did when the property on Harbor, south of the 22, one of the most recent projects where we did go out in an RFP. So I think that's important. And the staff is trying to think about that as we go.
Thank you. And on that note, I'd like to thank Ms. Kim for her openness and her I'm at loss for words. Her meeting with all of us, taking the initiative to meet with all of us, to hear what our thoughts are on economic development in our city. So thank you for taking that initiative. Please vote.
I'm sorry.
Yours didn't register yet.
It's right next.
I did.
On the other.
Oh! Forgive me today.
Motion passed with 7 yes votes.
Thank you.
What's next?
We're going to do the City Council 8B and 8C. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? And this vote is for the council.
City council.
Any further discussion? Please vote. Sorry.
That's right.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Great. So,
More items, or was that?
yeah,
For
let's
that.
recess the housing right now. Okay? Thank you, commissioners, for your service. We had closed session earlier. Did we have a report on those items considered?
Yes, Mayor. We actually were not able to address all of the closed session items. We only addressed City Council closed session item number 2. On number 2, we only had one action, and that was the City Council authorized the city manager to approve civil enforcement of against real property, code enforcement against code enforcement issues on the property located on 19191 Rainier Avenue.
Thank you. And we'll continue closed session after our regular session. This time, we're going to go into oral communications. Maureen Blackman.
Good evening, everyone. I am going to do a little work for the city because I am going to announce the marijuana task force meeting on May 18th at 7 o'clock in the Community Meeting Center. It's a task force led by Mayor Bowin and Councilman Fat Bowie, considering repealing the ban on medical marijuana dispensaries, the illegal marijuana dispensaries in Garden Grove, and the city's asking residents to share their opinions on it. The meeting is offered to all Garden Grove residents and businesses owners so they have an opportunity to voice their concerns. And I really appreciate it if the residents would take the time to really consider this. My stance is that we keep the ban and enforce it, but families can come out and voice their concerns. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hung Nguyen. Mr. Hung Nguyen.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council Member. Today I just come to say thanks for the decision of the Council Member last meeting, which make sure we don't have to lose any money for any lawsuit about redistricting. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you would like me to pronounce your name correctly in Vietnamese, follow his example and put the diacritics in there. It's so helpful. Otherwise, I wouldn't know how to pronounce your name. Deidre Nguyen.
Good evening, mayors and council members and city staff and everyone here tonight. I guess you had no problem with my name then. I'm here tonight just to express my thank you for supporting from last meeting's public hearing regarding to the submission one. At the same time, we would, we wish we continue to support the city of Garden Grove as well as we all can come together for the better prosperity for the city of Garden Grove. Thank you.
Thank you. Charles Mitchell.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council and staff. My name is Charles Mitchell. I live at 8701 Lome Avenue in Garden Grove. I want to congratulate everyone on going through the entire process to establish voting districts in our city. I know it was a tremendous effort on everyone's part. And as a mediator for many years, I know that the best agreements leave no one happy. And in this case, there are a lot of unhappy people because the districts did not please everyone. Well, I think it's the best that we could come up with to establish the parameters that we were given as far as our legal requirements. And as long as we have done that, we have done what is required by law to move forward and have our elections beginning with the election after this one, so that we can move into a direction where we have better representation on our city council from all across our community. The issue of marijuana dispensaries in our city is another one that a lot of people have different opinions on, but the law in California is that they are legal. So our best bet is to step forward and establish the parameters within which these facilities will operate, and to make sure that the city collects taxes on them, to make sure that the police services that are required to protect the public are being paid for, and maybe we can hire some more police officers by using these funds. Finally, we all abhor the circumstances in Vietnam, as there are circumstances around the world of people being submitted to terrible circumstances that we would like to see change. But I don't think our city council is the right venue to address these issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Vin Vu?
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council member, and city staff. My name is Vinh Vu, a long-time Garden Grove resident. I'm here tonight to thank you for your support and adopt Submission 1. I'm looking forward to a better and more successful Garden Grove. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan Gleason. Following Dan Gleason will be Henry Hung Tran. And then Stephanie Klopfenstein.
My name's Dan Gleason, and I'm a member of the Garden Grove Drug-Free Coalition and have been working in Garden Grove with the police department, Garden Grove Unified School District, the Boys and Girls Club, parents and students to try to reduce drug and alcohol abuse among young people. And I would like to thank the City Council because you folks have been really very supportive of our efforts over the year. You've supported our events, our reality parties, and you're the folks that passed the social host ordinance, which I think has helped to reduce underage drinking in Garden Grove, and we really appreciate the support. What I wanted to talk about is we're concerned about the task force that you've developed to regulate and tax medical marijuana dispensaries. I attended the meeting that you had last week, and we learned from Chief Elgin that you have 26 dispensaries operating in Garden Grove illegally. And we heard loud and clear from the community, it appeared to me, that they opposed lifting the ban and seemed to be more in favor of closing these businesses. One of the main goals of the Garden Grove Drug-Free Coalition is to reduce substance abuse among youth. And one of our major strategies is to reduce access to these various substances. And what we know is that in communities where you have medical marijuana dispensaries, you have an increase in access of youth to marijuana. And we know that that's specifically the case here in Garden Grove because we asked the students in the Garden Grove Unified School District. In 2012, we asked every 7th grade, 9th grade, and 11th grade student and all of the non-traditional students if they reported in the California Healthy Kids survey that they smoked marijuana. We asked them, where did you get that marijuana? And what we learned is that 10% of 11th graders and 68% of non-traditional students simply bought their marijuana at the medical marijuana dispensaries. Also, we asked the students who smoked marijuana but got it from a friend or a relative or an acquaintance, where did that person get the marijuana? And what we learned is that 35% of the 11th graders reported that their connection bought the marijuana at a dispensary, and 37% of the non-traditional students bought the marijuana at a dispensary. So we know that even here in Garden Grove, the dispensaries have increased youth access to marijuana. The other thing that I wanted to comment on is that we've looked closely at the experience in Washington and also in Colorado. And here's some things that are happening there that we're at risk of experiencing here in Garden Grove. One is that they're reporting that marijuana use increases among all age groups when you have medical marijuana dispensaries, and also in those two states they have legalized the recreational use of marijuana. We could look forward to an increase in the number of driving under the influence of drugs, specifically marijuana. They're experiencing that in Colorado and also in Washington. An increase in fatal auto accidents. In fact, there was a report that appeared in the Washington Journal just today. It's a AAA study, and between 2013 and 2014, there was a doubling in the number of marijuana-related auto fatalities in the state of Washington. The other thing that we're already seeing is an increase in the number of poisoning, basically they're overdoses, but people that wind up in the emergency room and young children, people who smoke too much marijuana, use the edibles or left the edibles where young people were able to access those. Also, we're likely to see an increase in teens who are suspended, expelled, or arrested for possessing marijuana on campus, an increase in treatment admissions for marijuana, and also an increase in crime in general. In the city and county of Denver, between 2014 and 2015, they experienced a 12% increase in drug and narcotic crimes, 26% increase in motor vehicle thefts, and a 74% increase in homicides. That kind of surprised me also.
Your time is up. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Henry Hung Tran. I was so busy writing down all these stats and information.
Yeah, good evening to Mayor and then City Council and then all people over here. My name is Henry Tran. I have been here in Garden Grove, California from 1982 and then until now. First time is I just got a citation from the city, and then I'm really wondering because it's my situation. I really try to say it short because I have only 3 minutes required. First thing is when I just move in, and then I seen in the end of my neighborhood the same with my house. So they build a block wall with 6 foot high. And then I just come to the city Garden Grove and asking for the building structure and to ask them if maybe I have a permit for that. And they said no, because that's one existing. And then after that, I just come home and then I building the block wall for 4 feet only. And then in the top, I use some iron frame to put it a little higher to let someone not in. So later on, the front of my house, they have the other house, they building, is 6 foot high block wall also. And then even they building add up, on the side of the garage, attached to the garage on the side of the sidewalk. And then I wondering because I come up to the city, Garden Grove, and then I just asked the building instruction again, why before they treat me like that, and then I cannot do my 6 block wall. That's unfair. He said, no, now you can dig your block wall up and then, you put a 6 foot wall. Just come here, get a permit and do that. I don't want to spend a lot of money to do like that because it's, I'm feeling I'm too late now. And then after that, I just come home and then I just try to build. I just asked before someone, they told me, build, the carport, don't attach to the garage. That's the correct law. And then I just bought a carport from Home Depot. And then I put in my, my side next to the block wall. And then, now I just received the notice from city code, enforcement, Mrs. Rita Kramer. She gave me the citation, must be removed. That's one, I really wondering because that's one, I don't touch anything. I have a whole picture over here. And then I have 2 houses. One is they build existing and one they build after I'm moving over there. I'm moving over there already, and then they moving behind me, and they building that, So I would like City Garden Grove and every one is City Council make be fair because last night I cannot sleep either, and now I receive the second notice from Mr. Rita Kramer. I need to be done, about 7 days. If not, I will get citation for $70 for the first, re-inspection, and the second re-inspection, they charge for $100. I cannot sleep because with me, I'm working hard in Garden Grove. I try to do all my best in my neighborhood. I don't know if this one I heard someone, they complain about that, so that's why I just try to do all the best I can. In my home, I have a dog. Sometimes I wake up at the night because the dog barking. I just watching around for my neighborhood. If we have some, stranger, I seen someone, they did that. But, so when I called the police came over too late. That's why they only removed the 4 tires of the car, which someone, I believe, I seen that, if I'm not mistaken, some Latino people, they try to take away. And then after that, the police come too late, and then the car without wheel and without tire at all. So the car like that, underneath they put the rock underneath of the car and leave it like that. Really funny. So that's all. I just say, would you please, Mayor or City Council, would you please help me in my situation? I would like to treat me fairly, my family fairly, and then, look like the same with some of the other, So I really appreciate your help. So I have some picture. I don't know who I hand to it.
You can hand that to Ms. Baylor there. Mr. Stiles, could you ask Carl to come out and speak with Mr. Henry Tran here?
Mr. Mayor, yes, I was going to escort him out and get him connected to some people out in the hallway.
Great,
and
thank
then
you.
We'll get him going.
Great, thank you. Stephanie Kloppenstein?
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and staff. My name is Stephanie Klopfenstein. I want to bring to everyone's attention that the Garden Grove Neighborhood Association's 13th annual neighborhood meeting and backyard brunch will be Saturday, June 4th at 10:30 a.m. The speakers, and we have a fantastic list of speakers, lots of Garden Grove VIPs, will start at 11 a.m. It's a great opportunity for residents, members, and hopefully future members of the Garden Grove Neighborhood Association to have some delicious food and meet regional and local officials. And we also encourage people that attend that aren't members to please sign up. It's $12 for the whole family. So please mark your calendars for June 4th. You can email or call Maureen Blackman, who's our president, for more information, and you'll find her email or phone number on the Garden Grove Neighborhood Association Facebook page. Thank you.
Thank you. Kim Nguyen?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and distinguished City Council members. It has been a challenging few months, and I'm ecstatic that we have made it to this point. I am truly blessed to have been given an opportunity to be a conduit for change, and want to thank each of you for making the right decision for the city. I hope that we can continue to come together and work towards a more unified Garden Grove. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any more cards, Ms. Baylor? Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. We have some consent items here. Wait, let's do legislative. We'll pass this over to the chair of the Successor agency before we go into city council business.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll call the Successor agency meeting to order, and would you like to call roll?
Sure. Member Bowie?
Here.
Member Nguyen?
Yes.
Member Fawn?
Here.
Vice Chair Beard?
Here.
Chair Jones?
Here. Okay, we already did oral communications simultaneously with the other legislative bodies, so we'll go to consent items, basically just the receive and file the minutes for April 12th and approval of the warrants. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Call the vote.
Motion passed with 5 yes votes.
Any matters from agency members? Seeing none, we will adjourn back to council.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion for the consent items.
I'd like to pull 5D.
Okay. Is there a motion for the balance?
I'll move the balance.
Second.
Any further discussion? Please vote. Mr. Beard?
Just
go ahead, Ms. Baylor.
question.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Thank you, Mr. Beard.
Yeah, I pulled 5D just to announce full disclosure here. I work for the County of Orange, but I do not work for the Sheriff's Department, so I do not have a conflict with this item. I will be voting on it.
Okay.
And then,
Thank you.
Then for me too, Mr. Mayor, I'm also a employee of the Orange County District Attorney's Office. We do use the Orange County Forensic Services for our work. However, I don't think in this particular case it would be a conflict of interest.
Okay. Any further advice from Mr. Sandoval? No? I'll entertain a motion to move 5D.
Move approval.
Second.
Further discussion? Please vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Thank you. And we're going to move on to 8A here.
Yes, item 8A is approval of an exclusive negotiation agreement with New Age Garden Grove LLC, and Greg Blodgett is here to present that report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. Tonight we have an exclusive negotiation agreement for New Age Garden Grove LLC, and I do have a PowerPoint which I'd like to show on the screen. Thank you. So this is known as Site B2, and this is New Age Garden Grove developer that has a DDA for B2 site, which is 2.5 acres, which is shown in orange. The site has now been expanded to 10 acres, which is shown in the white color. So a brief history on this project. Hammer Lane was incorporated into this project, into the redevelopment plan in 2002. Also, EDA consultant for the agency prepared a master plan to include B2 site in 2006. Then in 2008, the general plan was updated to have land use targets for this site as a hotel development and tourist serving commercial uses. Subsequently, the Department of Finance, State Department of Finance, has approved certain expenditures for this project, B2, the 2.5 acre site. So a portion of the site is subject to the existing DDA. Kam Singh has requested to expand the site to accommodate the Nickelodeon Resort, which would be 10 acres. On October 11th of 2011, the City Council gave agency staff direction to acquire additional properties in furtherance of the development of the expanded project. Kam Singh subsequently entered into a development agreement with Viacom for the use of the Nickelodeon brand. So one reason why there was no RFP for this particular project was we had an existing contract for the 2.5 acre site with the agency and CAMSANG. And unless the DDA is terminated, the 2.5 acre site would not be available to any other developer. And also, the site does not have access to Harbor Boulevard, proper access to the Harbor Boulevard from the back of the 10 acre site. So the developer, CAMSANG, is proposing to expand the site from 2.5 acres to 10 acres and develop a AAA four-diamond Nickelodeon resort brand hotel with approximately 600 rooms. The 600-key hotel would include 15,000 to 30,000 square feet of meeting space, along with 5,000 to 15,000 square feet of entertainment, retail, dining, and also a large outdoor resort pool. And this is a conceptual site plan that we're looking at. And here are some preliminary renderings of what the outside would look like looking in from Harbor Boulevard. Very thematic. And some more conceptual imagery looking into the hotel from Harbor and also from the back of the hotel. So this agreement that we're considering tonight will allow City to proceed with the expanded project, and the developer will expend and deliver $100,000 to the City for all costs incurred in connection with the acquisition of the third-party property, including relocation of the occupants and environmental review. The benefits of this project will include at project stabilization, generation of approximately $7.7 million in new TOT, $300,000 in property tax, $150,000 in new sales tax, for gross revenue of approximately $8 million a year. In addition, there'll be many jobs created. We're estimating 600 to 800 new jobs. So at this time, staff is recommending we consider approving the attached E&A with New Age Garden Grove LLC. And we have representatives from CAMSANG Company. Bill Wolfgram is here to say a couple words about his company and the project.
Yeah, please step forward.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilman, staff. We are not a stranger to the city and what we've built here, and we're excited really to have the opportunity to bring Nickelodeon, Viacom to the city. It will be the first Nickelodeon hotel that will be brought in the United States. Really, they're also excited. It took us about 3 years to negotiate the license agreement, and we're ready to move forward if the city wants to move forward with this project. As mentioned, we do have an opportunity to build a smaller hotel in the front, but we thought that it would be a better offering to the city and its residents to bring a Nickelodeon hotel to your city. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about our background and what we've done, and not just here in the city, but in other areas of Southern California.
Go ahead.
Just as far as it was to be approved, how long do you think the project would take from beginning to completion?
We originally had, this is when we put our schedule together, we had an opening of October 2019. So we're probably 6 months behind, depending on whether the other properties can be acquired. So we're thinking about 2020 is when opening will happen, if the schedule is in line.
And this is all contingent on the properties being able to be bought over, right?
Correct.
What happens if you meet some properties that are unwilling to sell?
It depends which properties. If there are properties that are maybe more critical to our planning, we may stop. But if some properties are towards the back, we may redesign it to accommodate those residents. So we are in a critical point in that we sort of need to know in short order whether either the city will like us to move forward or whether those residents will, be willing to sell their properties.
Mr. Bowie?
This is a massive expansion of from the existing project. I do like the concept, the vision. It's bring a lot new excitement and opportunity for our city. However, every time we consider a massive project like this, there are many other complexities that bring with it. Some of this could be objection from local resident, which we haven't gone through that process yet. And the other thing, including things such as, will they be, they probably will not be allowed to use the facility unless they, like the water park project, that they will be, staying, at the hotel. And so a lot of this issue will need to be worked out during the next, the next phase of the project. You have any idea, how flexible, your company will work with the city and the resident to plan this out?
Let me speak to the use of the property. So what we're offering as far as the water features is not like the Great Wolf Water Park. So it will not be water park. There'll be just a bigger pool experience for those who stay in the hotel. There will be restaurants and such that will be available to the public, and so anybody can walk in there and use the restaurants. And obviously, since it's a hotel, there will be meeting rooms that will be available to those who want to utilize the facilities. As far as flexibility in design, the Viacom Nickelodeon prototype requires about 10 acres. That's about the minimum that we can use. So we're already kind of pushing the envelope as far as fitting what their program will be, is requires for the brand in the site that we propose to expand the project to. So there is some flexibility depending on how much land that we cannot acquire, but not much. I think, as you mentioned, 10 acres is about where we're at. I think Nickelodeon would prefer 18 acres, but we can fit it into this. Part of it's because we also own the Sheraton at the front, and so we can use some of those access areas, and also because of the control of the smaller portion up front that we can incorporate into a bigger campus as opposed to a standalone Nickelodeon project.
So this would be the first of its kind in the U.S., right?
Yes, Nickelodeon at one time had a hotel in Florida. It was a conversion project that didn't work well for them, and so they closed it. I think they closed it, I want to say earlier this year.
Or what happened?
Different ownership, operator issues, and so they felt that a new build would be the direction. As you can imagine, Viacom is a media company. They're very sensitive to their reputation and their name and their brand. And so they want something that will represent them well.
And I'm sure you've probably done the market research. Are you confident that this will, I'm not putting you on the spot or anything, but this being first of its kind will attract the type of tourist and attention that we would like for it to attract?
Yes. No doubt Nickelodeon would not sign an agreement to build here if they were not confident that it could be successful here. As I mentioned, they're a media company. Reputation is really all they have. And so they're confident, and we're confident that the demand will be there for this project. All suites, family-oriented, and that's the kind of product that Nickelodeon would like to put their name to.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll be here if you have any questions.
Okay, sure. Thanks. And thank you, staff, for the report. Is there anything further?
Mayor and Council, I just would like to add, with the success of the Great Wolf opening and the long history of the last few years of transitioning Harbor Boulevard, this is the testament of the success of Garden Grove as a great place to do business. Knowing that Nickelodeon has chosen Garden Grove as their pioneer and their launch of the new hotel is a really true sharing of how a success story that Garden Grove has transformed over the last many years. So again, the item before you is an expanded project to approve an E&A to allow the developer to go forward with the necessary process to evaluate the acquisition of additional properties along with the entitlement process to bring the project forward. Staff is available to answer any additional questions you may have, and those are my final comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have some question for our legal counsel. The scope of our approval tonight is only to enter an exclusive agreement with the developer to, allow them to proceed by procuring this property, right? That's the only limitation of our approval tonight.
Yeah, actually, Tom Clark, special counsel, is here. He drafted the ENA, so if you don't mind, we can have him respond to the questions.
Please, thank you.
Yes, the only thing this does is start the exclusive negotiating process. It doesn't commit anybody to anything other than negotiate with each other regarding the project.
So that's going to come back to council?
It'll be back many times, I'm sure.
Yeah. Any further questions?
Not a question, but I wanted to make a comment. Sure. And I just wanted to expand on something that came up earlier because there was a comment about this being first of its kind. And then there was a comment by Phil that there actually was one before and it shut down. So I just wanted to kind of expand on that briefly. Over 10 years ago, or at least 10 years ago, I had the opportunity to attend a International Association of Amusement Parks conference in Orlando, Florida, out promoting the city and this site and this project and others that we had still available at the time. Had the occasion to meet with the Nickelodeon folks even way back then, their architects, whatnot. So this concept, this vision goes way back in our history, and it's super exciting for me to see it finally coming forward and actually taking shape. And I had occasion while I was out there to visit that Nickelodeon-themed hotel. It was originally a Holiday Inn family suites product that was built in the 50s or 60s or something, with a big central courtyard that they made into pools, and then they programmed it, with like the buckets that dump water and that sort of thing. So it was like a water park from the Paleozoic era or something. It was like it was cool, but it was, I think it probably didn't represent the integrity of the brand that they're trying to get. So I would say they probably proved up their concept that there's demand there, that families react to Nickelodeon, to SpongeBob, to a Nickelodeon themed water park, and that's there, but that they wanted to bring a brand new one and make it as fabulous as it wants to be. So we get that, and I'm pretty excited to see this have a shot at going forward.
I thought the buckets would be dumping green slime.
Yeah.
No?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I might also add, even much more recently than 10 years ago, about a month ago, the CEO of CamSang, Mr. Ronnie Lamb, who's here, and Phil invited me up, and we had lunch. I met with, along with Mr. Blodgett, we met with the senior executive in New York with Nickelodeon, who just expressed, just as recently as a month ago, tremendous just interest and excitement from the standpoint of their company. We talked a lot about brand importance and how they saw the market here and the proximity to everything that's here in Southern California. So I can just tell you how excited they were to be potentially entering into a partnership with us. So that happened as recently as a month ago. So I felt very good about that as well.
Great, thank you. I think the Nickelodeon brand is very youth oriented, and one of our city models is a city of youth and ambition. And I'd like to, you know, as we move forward, if council decides to move forward, that we consider some kind of a community benefits agreement where the existence of this project would help, you know, our schools or the kids in our community. So I'd like us to consider that. Okay. Any further discussion? Is there a motion?
Can I move I would like to move approval of the exclusive negotiating agreement.
Second it.
Any further discussion? Please vote.
Motion passed with 5 yes votes.
Thank you. And we have the second reading of our ordinance, item 9A.
Yes, ordinance number 2866 is presented for second reading and adoption, entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Grove, adding sections 2.04.030 and 2.04.040 to Chapter 2.04 of Title II of the Garden Grove Municipal Code, implementing by-district elections of council members and establishing boundary lines therefore.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I would like to move approval.
Excellent.
And I'll second that.
Any further discussion? I'd like to thank Councilmember Beard for your leadership in pushing this forward, and also recognize that you know, this really didn't happen without the leadership of Rick Montoya and also the entire community in terms of voicing their input in this mapping process. I know that, like what Mr. Mitchell said earlier, not everyone's going to be happy, but I think that over time we'll figure a way to hold our elected officials accountable, whomever they are and will be, so that we have a council that serves our entire city. So also want to applaud Ms. Kim Nguyen on your efforts and your initiative to work across differences in the community. I think that says a lot about the spirit of our city, and it says a lot about you as a person as well. So thank you for your leadership, and to all those that worked on the mapping process, whether you know your map was selected or not. This has been a very positive thing that we're going to move towards district elections. And also, I want to recognize Maureen Blackman and her group for holding council accountable as well. And we have the at-large mayor still with an expanded council rather than having 5 districts. So a lot has come to this point, and I want to express the council's appreciation for all the work that's gone into this. Please vote.
Motion passed with 5 yes votes.
Okay. Before we go back into closed session, well, you know, let's go around and check in. We'll start with Mr. Beard.
Well, sure. I think, looking in the audience, it's since we are the City of Youth and Ambition, I think I see some young people out here, so it must be close to the end of the school year, because the civics class, I assume, is out there in the audience.
Probably from Pacifica.
Are you? Well, welcome to a city council meeting, and thanks for coming out. And a general comment, it's very exciting council meeting we've had today. We've really set the future in motion here, I'd say, with district elections, with some exciting projects coming out. And so you were a part of that, and you were here to see that. So in the days of the future, you'll remember this day you saw some of those projects hopefully come to life, and you were part of it. So welcome, and hope to see you again in the future sometime.
Yeah, when it's not required. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Mr. Bowie?
I would like to put on the agenda at the next city council meeting about the need for to direct our staff to work out a plan for digital billboard and other billboard along the freeway. I think there's a lot of people are interested in, putting up some billboard and digital billboard or electronic reader sign. And I think we need to have a plan in place to address those before we can, consider, allow one or two, popping up here and there.
Okay.
If we do not have the time to work out the plan for, citywide plan, at least we have one for the section of the Freeway 22.
Okay, well, let's do a study session before we direct staff to move forward in any direction, to hear what our existing policies are, what some of the concerns are, what if there's any interest in these billboard regulations or not. I'd like to hear that. Is that okay if we do a study session? Because if we vote to agendize this, I need the information. Well, I think the full council needs the information.
Right. The information, the vote is, the agenda item next week is not to vote on a plan. It's just a vote to whether we direct staff to come up, to do the study and come up with a plan. Now, about a couple months ago, we did have a presentation from staff on the issue with the billboard along the freeway.
Yeah, one particular billboard.
No. It's about many of the billboard along the freeway. But I do not mind if you would like to have another study session to refresh the council, on this topic. But I think it is, what I am proposing.
Mm-hmm.
Is not about let's vote on a plan. We certainly need more information. Staff need to do a lot more study. It's just the vote to direct staff to spend time to come up with the study, more detailed study to present to us.
I'm okay with that. I'll take that as the motion. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? No. Please vote.
Just clarification. So are we?
Excuse me.
Are we taking action on it to develop a plan?
No, this is to agendize.
We actually have a billboard plan, I believe, that we did a few years ago.
Informational discussion item?
Well, if we agendize this, that means that what will be on the agenda, we can take action on.
That's what I'm hearing, so I just want to confirm that.
And the action would be to direct staff to look at the existing billboard ordinance and identify the issue, the need, and come up with suggestion whether we need to adjust that ordinance or not.
Mm-hmm.
So next council meeting we will discuss and vote whether we want staff to spend time on that effort.
Oh, okay. The only comment I want to make is I think there's a lot on the plate of the staff, so I don't know how pressing this is.
We don't have to do it at the next meeting. We can do it later on. Give staff some time to come back, because I want more information, because this is beyond the scope of just the 22 freeway billboards. So, we'll, with this motion, you're not expecting it by the next meeting, are you, Mr. Bowie?
No.
Okay.
And again, we do not need staff to begin working on it immediately. We just, want to staff to start thinking about it and start working, come up with a schedule, come up with a timeline to start working on them.
So gathering some information. Right. Do you want to put a timeline on this?
I would say within the next 3 to 6 months that they need to do something.
Within the next 3 or 6 months. And during that time, certainly staff, I hope, would come forward with a recommendation for council to take action on. Further discussion? Please vote.
Motion passed with 5 yes votes.
Thank you. Thank you for your suggestion there, Mr. Bowie. Mr. Jones?
I have nothing to add. Thanks.
Mr. Fan?
Yeah, I got 2 items to bring forth for the city's attention. On the 19th of this month, we have at 5 o'clock a memorial, a ceremony for the fallen 5 police officers in our city. I invite you to come out there at 5 o'clock. It's going to be right on the street there, right in front of City Hall, across from, or right in front of the police station, across from City Hall. If you never have witnessed a 21-gun salute, you should, because even though I've been surrounded by firearms before, but boy, when you gear up to get hear that 21 gun salute. It's amazing. Also, secondly, the Monday on the 23rd at 6:30 here at the community center, we have the Garden Grove Pride, which is basically to honor and recognize all of the wonderful homes in our cities. So please come out if you have time for that. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Also, want to remind everybody that we will have our second medical marijuana task force community meeting on Wednesday, May 18th at 7 p.m. right here at the Community Meeting Center. Everyone is welcome to attend and participate, and we certainly do appreciate your input. I don't know on what, Mr. Mitchell. Okay, so let's see here. Check. Okay. And before we go back into closed session, we will be adjourning tonight's meeting in memory of United States Marine Corporal Robert Tellis III, a Garden Grove High School alumnus and student at Fullerton College. Robert was known for his kindness and passion to help others and pride in his country. Robert Tellis III was a dedicated individual who spent his free time recruiting for the Marine Corps, mentoring youth, and coaching football at the Boys and Girls Clubs of Garden Grove. Last Wednesday, Robert was in a tragic car accident that ultimately took his life. He will be remembered by the family and friends he leaves behind and the many lives he has touched. Although he is no longer with us, Robert's efforts and contributions to our community will continue to thrive. Our city was fortunate to have had such an outstanding young man in the community. And on behalf of our city, I'd like to extend our most sincere and wholehearted condolences to his family during this time. Wait, Mr. Stiles?
Mr. Mayor, and thank you for those remarks. And I just had I wanted to mention two additional things.
Sure.
Very briefly, last week we had a 4-alarm fire. Mm-hmm. And we don't have a 4-alarm fire in this city very often, maybe once every 3 or 4 years. I want to just use this brief opportunity to thank our fire department for their fast response. It happened at about 3:30 in the morning. And I should also mention, when you have an incident of that magnitude, which happened at 125 Brookhurst Street, it was the Claw Restaurant right up near the intersection of Euclid and Chapman Avenue. Brookhurst, yeah. And we had participating departments, several different departments that assisted with that. Obviously, our police department provided great assistance to securing the scene, helping with traffic, all of that. We had our public works department had to deploy heavy-duty equipment to help with tearing down of some of the damaged facade stuff so that it wouldn't collapse and injure anybody. We had our community and economic development and permitting staff there that had to be there to actually declare make some declarations with our chief building official about how we can move forward with the building, do some analysis before our firefighters got in there, started doing some of their forensic evidence, that sort of thing. So I just want to thank all of the city staff that were involved in that effort. It was, I got there about 6 in the morning, and most of the work was done, but it was quite a structure fire that we had. I talked to besides just the firefighters, all of the building managers there. I know they want to get going on rebuilding the site and having some other things go. So that was, it was just a great effort on all of our city staff for containing that from spreading. There's a lot of other buildings around it. It was a little windy that morning. we had, I really should mention that we had firefighters from all around Garden Grove. We had firefighters from Anaheim, Fountain Valley, Orange County Fire Authority, everybody who responded to that situation. So,
and it took all those folks too.
yeah,
to
it
put
was.
out.
Yeah, our Public Works Department had to rush out there to increase the water pressure for people to do what they need to do. So there's a million things going on that are really important. So. Just kudos to all of our folks on that point. Very quickly, secondly, last week in my manager's memo to City Council, we included a project development update list of all the projects that community development and community and economic development are doing. It's something that Ms. Kim worked with all of her staff to put together, so I'd invite you to go back and take a little look at that project list. I think it'll be something that'll be helpful to our planning commissioners and other folks going forward. It's something that she's going to be doing on a regular basis, so I think it'll be just something that'll be good for not only all of you to look at, for me to look at, for our citizens to look at as well. So we'll continue to do that, so thanks to their department as well. So
Thank you, Mr. Stiles.
Thank you.
It is May now, and I do remember the last time we considered the Galleria issue that we said it will come back in May. Does that mean that it's coming back at the next meeting in May, Mr. Stiles?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, my understanding is that whenever we last talked about it 3-4 months ago, probably you asked for us to bring it back at either the end of May or the last council meeting in May. I'm not sure the exact.
No, we actually gave them through the end of May, so it can come back at your next meeting, or it can come back at your first meeting in June.
Okay, great. Thank you. We're going to recess to our closed session, and then after closed session, we'll have a report back if there's anything to report.